Are we wasting our time is the big question this morning. And we spend so much time and effort and sweat and blood and tears and all that in creating these incredible, beautiful websites. And then are they actually then invisible? You know, in today's episode, we're going to look at the new world of what's happening. What is Google doing? What is it not doing? What's AI doing? What it's not doing? And is it changing the whole SEO game, the whole search engine optimization game, if you've never heard about that before? And what financial planners and business owners can do to make sure that they stay visible and valuable. I think if you think that SEO is just about clicks and being found, then think again. So looking forward to a good one. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, we are back Friday. Fantastic. And when I did open the curtain, so okay, you wouldn't know this because we've been talking before the show about, you should open the curtain and see because the day is breaking behind it. It's got a peacock feather in its hat. You see these guys backstage think I'm not listening, but I am listening. And it was one of those days that when I opened the curtains, there was no daybreak. It was just dark clouds and it's wet and all of that. So it's still a fantastic Friday. Thank you very much for joining us live. You'll notice a few additions to the studio today if you look carefully. It's not that it's not in your face, but anyway. Good morning. Today we are talking about SEO. Why are we talking about SEO? Right, because this is an important topic for me. We've been spending a lot of time on this over the last couple of months, well, more than a couple of months. In order to make sure that whatever is on our website is valuable, but that it shows up in the right places, because it doesn't really help having a website unless you send somebody there. And most people that I speak to say, well, we look at it and my mom looks at it, and like that's basically it, right? So it doesn't really help if somebody is looking for someone like us and they can't find you. Then that's a bit of a problem, right? So today I thought, let me get the best person in the room that has been working hard behind the scenes to make our lives, change our lives. She has done a lot of fantastic work with the FBI as well, if I may say that. Lelani is the one who put me in touch with her, actually. So, it's just incredible to see what is possible when somebody really understands that there's this component to our websites that's really, really important. But also the game has changed quite considerably. So looking forward to chat to Carla dos Santos, the SEO coach, not just the SEO coach, in my mind, the SEO coach. So, fantastic. Looking forward to that conversation. And you can get yourself ready for a chaotic day today because like everybody who's here can talk quite a lot. So I'm looking forward to an energetic one. Anyway, let me not steal their time then. So we also have Igno back. Igno today is saying, well, the thief, did not steal it. I think that's what he said, like something like that. Anyway, I'll get the title right. Or when we start, I'll make sure I get it right. Then Ben is back with the efficiency edge, and he is going to share some quick email wins. We all, when I speak to people, the first thing they want to do with email, is either manage their email or write a record of advice. It's usually one of those two things. So he's got some email tips that he wants to share today. We've got some quick announcements, and then we'll get into the conversation with Carla, which I am very excited about, as I mentioned before. Righty, so let me just say a quick warm good morning. Of course, now Lelani, the one I left out, you see. Now Lelani, sorry. So Lelani is here with all of the latest news and what's been happening since we last saw them last week. So excited for that. Thank you very much, Lelani and the FBI, for doing the news every single week. With that, Quibus, good morning, Quibus. Hope you've got enough signal there in Clarence. Good morning, Terence, over in Mauritius today. So, yeah, people are joining us. We're becoming international, even though we've got to export people from our side to go international. So thank you guys for helping us achieve that. Then we've got Kolisi. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for saying hi. We've got Lauren. Good morning. Nice to see you as well. Willem Bester, good morning. Nice to see you. Let me just see where we go. Francis, goeiemôre. Hoop het gaan goed daar by jou. And then Lalani is saying good morning to everyone as well. Benny is saying good morning to everyone. Good morning, good morning. Razan is in the house. Good morning, Razan. Nice to see you. Michelle Strydom, vroom vroom, hello. I like that. That's a new one. Fantastic. Jonita Wilman, good morning. Nice to see you as well. Thanks for saying hi. Nasima, good morning. Nice to see you. Neil Phillips, good morning. Also, always good to see you as well. Albert Fritz, goeiemôre. Welcome. Thank you for saying hi. Arun, good morning. A cold, cloudy, and rainy but beautiful Paul. You don't often hear all those words together. It's usually a hot Paul, right? Carl, good morning. Round 3 of Gold Front approaching. Yes, bring it on. Nasima says Durban is back to one season all year. Okay, that's fantastic. Ferry van Niekerk, goeiemôre Ferry. Thanks for saying hi. Liana, good morning. Nice to see you as well. And on that note, ladies and gents, let's start the show with the news. Here is Lalani with everything that you and I need to know.
Yes, good morning, Francois, and everybody online. And indeed, Carla dos Santos is and was and will be and continue to be absolutely instrumental in the FBI world. She saved us, in terms from our website. She helped us to find our own website. So, Carla, I look forward to listening to you this morning. So, yes, Francois, indeed, we were talking about Ingrid Jonker in the background this morning and all the poems that she wrote. In fact, she tragically actually passed away 1965 on the 19th of July, which is next week. But on that note, Francois, let's scoot straight into the Financial Sector Conduct Authority and what's going on there. So as we know, the Financial Sector Conduct Authority issues us public warnings. And this one, I think, may be a little bit close to everybody's heart because we know consumers love easy equities. So the FSCA cautions the public against individuals fraudulently posting as employees or representatives of easy equities, a platform operated by First World Trader Pty, an authorized financial services provider. So the FSCA actually received a report from Purple Group. Now, Purple Group is the parent company of Easy Equities, indicating a rise in the impersonation incidents where fraudsters claim affiliation with Easy Equities on the social media platforms. So it's very easy to identify this because the first thing they do is they actually lure unsuspected people by saying, listen, here is extremely amazing high investment returns. That's the first alarm bell. The second alarm bell is where they say, pay the money into my personal bank account. So just by looking at those two things, you can clearly see there's something wrong. So please warn your clients to make sure that they don't fall victim to the easy equity scam. Then also very interesting, staying with the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, they released their regulatory action report for 2024 and 2025, outlining its enforcement activities and priorities for the year ahead. So covering the period from April 2024 up until March 2025, the report is designed to increase transparency about the Conduct Authority's work to uphold trust and integrity in South Africa's financial sector. Now, this is the third edition, if you recall correctly on this. It's the third edition, which details how the Conduct Authority aims to deter misconduct, raise awareness on regulatory requirements, and promote the principles of treating customers fairly, or otherwise TCF as we know it. Now, during the reporting period, and this is a very high-level summary of what you'll find in the report, the FSCA undertook more than 1,350 enforcement interventions, and these included 51 administrative penalties totaling a whopping 120 million, over 100 public warnings, and also 14 enforceable undertakings and the suspension or withdrawal of 406 licenses. Now remember, with suspension and withdrawal, suspension is when you don't meet the FSCA's requirements, but withdrawal is when you don't meet certain fit and proper requirements. This is distinctly different to licenses that has lapsed. So an whenever you look at a license and you see withdrawal, you would know that it's a fit and proper requirement somewhere along the line that was not met. So the authority also highlighted its focus on protecting whistleblowers with a dedicated hotline and protected disclosure protocols to encourage reporting and misconduct. If I recall correctly, I think Manny Winder also wrote a very interesting book on whistleblowers. So if you want to read the full report, as usual, it is available on the Financial Sector Conduct Authority's website, and I think it makes for some very interesting reading. Then, Francois, very quick update from the Financial Planning Institute side, and it actually includes you in my update. So the FPI will have its Ethics and AI Masterclass taking place on the 29th of July, so this month still, and it will start at about 8:30 and we will continue to 1 o'clock, and we will kick off with Panos Leledakis. Those who remember him, he's been on your show before, Francois. He's been at the FPI's conference, and I still meet with Panos on a quarterly basis just to see what is new in the world of technology. Followed by Riani Potgieter, the CEO of the Compliance Institute. The one and only Francois will be on the show as well, the workshop, and then myself as well. The program explores how artificial AI, artificial intelligence, is reshaping financial planning with a focus on building client trust, ensuring ethical adoption, and managing data privacy and accountability. The sessions cover practical strategies for the integration of AI into your advisory practice, understanding and mitigating any biases, and navigating regulatory requirements, and address the ethical challenges and opportunities of AI in a delivered, trusted, client-centered financial advice space. So don't miss that session. It's almost fully booked. Then something that happened out of interest that happened on this day, for those who are interested in what happened this day many, many moons ago, is on this day in 1998, the euro was born. It feels like much further along back down the line, but on this day in 1998, the euro was born. In a sense, the EU leaders agreed on the European Central Bank's first president and paved the way for the euro's introduction on 1 January 1999. So on that euro note, Francois, back to you in the studio in Somerset West. Goodbye.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Lelani. Some interesting stuff. Yeah, looking forward to the event on the 29th of July. And really excited for what I'm going to share and to be with people who really understand what's happening. So it's going to be fantastic. And on that note, here is Igno with Change Your Angle. And Igno today is saying the thief did not steal it. So Igno, here we go.
So today we've got a very short story for you. But before I dive into the story, I want to ask you a question about your business. How happy are you in terms of your business? Are you excited? Are you 100% happy about your business? Because there's two things that we lose along the way, and that comes in the way of us being happy when we run our businesses. And I'm going to start with the story of Ryakan the monk. Ryakan is robbed. He arrives home the evening after a long working day, and there is nothing in his little shack. Nothing. He had very little, and now he's got nothing. And that night he sits and he looks through the window and he says to himself, "The thief did not take it. The moon at my window." And isn't that lovely? The thief did not take it. The moon at my window. Despite losing everything, his attitude of gratitude. And today, I think maybe it's time to reflect on what we can be grateful for. There are so many things that can make us grateful that we can, and I mean each of us things, but that's point number one is gratitude. And point number two is we've lost our playfulness, our sense of fun. When last did you have fun in terms of a non-competitive game, in terms of just playing, in terms of playing with words? This morning, as Francois was saying, we spoke a bit about poetry. When last did you read a poem for the fun of it? There's a book by Dan Pink called it's all about how the right-brainers will rule the world, which is not actually the case. But he mentions these 6 things, and I'd like you to consider them in your practice. The first is design. How is it designed? Are you a practice that's filter coffee, fun, and joyful to enter? Or what does it feel like to walk into your office? So it's design. Then it's storytelling. We've all got stories, and we've all got customer stories, and our customers are always the heroes in the stories. We are the people taking them on their quest. So it's design, storytelling, then symphony. It's all about making things work together, making all the aspects, your own strengths, work for you. And then empathy. Obviously, if you don't care, it's really difficult. And then it's fun, which is also a future trend. And lastly, it's significance, your why. That whole thing Simon Sinek talks about. But all of those, if you've got all of them at some level, just remember to be grateful, because it's been proven that gratitude leads to here's a nice word, a lessifying and a decrease in stress. So take time today and write down 10 or 12 things for which you're grateful, and maybe tomorrow. And the moment that you realize what you have to be grateful for, you'll realize that you're actually a very rich person, like Ryokan the monk, who realized the thief did not take it, the moon at his window. Take care, have a super gratitude-filled weekend, and make it fun. Bye.
Hey, Igno, you always make me smile, man. Like these amazing stories, and you're such a fantastic storyteller. And then with these, just bringing it home with all that insight. Thank you so much. Righty, next up we have Ben with the Efficiency Edge today, giving you. And now I hope you've got a notebook, right? Because or otherwise you're gonna have to come back and watch this again. But here's some fantastic email quick wins for you, and probably made this video for me and not for you. But anyway, so here we go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Efficiency Edge, the segment that makes your future self want to high-five you. Emails. We all spend way too much time in them. So today, I want to share a few tips that will help you reclaim some of your time so it can help you doing what you love most, spending more time with your clients. So let's dive in and have a look. So if you're sending the same email over and over again, there's no point copying and pasting it. Why don't you start using templates? So for example, if you send the same email to a client after a meeting with the summary of the meeting with the minute notes, for example, here, copy that in. Thank you for the meeting today. Please find attached minutes for your. Did you know that if you click on messages, and now you click here on apps, and you click on my templates, just click here on the little plus button, and let's call this meeting minutes. I'm just going to go here and just copy this in and paste that there. Now we save, we have our minute meeting template there. So now, delete all this. We start a new email to our client. We've got the minute meetings. All we do here is we click on template and boom. So the next tip is to help you send the same email to multiple people, but it looks like they're getting an individual email. So this could be handy in the case of when you are looking for quotes to product providers. So let's say, for example, hi there, can I please have a quote based on the attached and the password ID number. So you want to send, I'm going to call the subject quote. And let's say we want to send this to an example, Momentum, and we want to send this to Discovery, and so on and so on. Now, normally, if you click here on the send button, it'll send, and these people will see that you sent it to both of them. But if you just click on this little arrow here and you say start mail merge, As you can see now, it'll say every recipient will receive their own copy of this email without other recipients listed. So when I click send, Francois will get this email sent to him, and Lene will get that sent to her. The next one is quite simple, but very powerful, and I think it's one of the most underutilized features in Outlook, and that is the schedule send. So let's say you are reading through your emails after hours or after work, and you want to reply to somebody. You might not want them to get it straight away because they're going to reply to you, and you want to set some boundaries. So you can have your email in there, and let's take the same sort of email that we had, but I don't want them to get it right now. And so I click here, over here, and I say schedule send, and I can make that for tomorrow morning, and I can make it at 8 as it's suggested, or I can select a custom time. So I can make it, even at 10 minutes past 8 tomorrow. Then when I click send, it will make it go at 10 past tomorrow morning. It really helps to protect your time and set up healthy boundaries. If you really want to take it up a notch, then you can start looking at rules. Rules can do a number of powerful things. I just want to show you one that I think could be helpful. Let's say, for example, your admin assistant CCs you on every single email so that you know what's happening. But this can often clog up your email. So let's just go here next to the inbox, and I'm just going to create a new subfolder and just call it CC. So we have a folder there. Then I'm going to go over to rules. I'm going to add rules, and I'm going to create a new, and I'm going to just call this CC. So you just give your rule a name, and now we can set the conditions. So I'm going to say, let me say, every time I get an email from my admin assistant, and I'm on the CC line, then I want to move that email to, I'll select the folder, that CC folder. If you click this button here, run rule now, it'll go through all the emails and past and put them into that folder as well. Or if you leave it unticked, it'll do it from the time of setting up this rule. This is helpful because now it doesn't clog up your inbox, so you're only getting the important emails that are coming into your inbox. And then you can go and skim read all those emails at a time that is convenient for you. You can also do similar things for newsletters and things like that, where you don't want it popping up in your email all the time and distracting you. So those are just 4 tips that I wanted to share with you today, and I hope that you have found value in some of them. I encourage you to go try them out. Maybe just start even with the templates. I think that's the easiest, and you'll be amazed at how much time that will save you. So that's it for the Efficiency Edge this week. Go out and make your future self proud.
And now nobody's going to take a Friday. Everybody's going to sort out their emails and getting to grips with this. So now that's it, right? So fantastic. Thank you, Ben. Very practical and something that you can implement today, and that you can get your team to watch that video and let them, or that part of the show rather, and let them do the same. So hopefully that helps a lot. So thanks very much. Righty, next up, we have the announcements.
Good morning, PROpulsion family, and happy Friday again. This has truly become my favorite day of the week. I wonder why. And this week, I need you all ears and attention at high, because this week we are typing up your tech game one prompt at a time. Let's get into some quick announcements. So first up, we have our Prompt Tracker Pro AI training for financial advisors that we are running again on the 15th of July. So if you want practical, usable results from your AI like ChatGPT, this is a great training to attend, and it is a 2-hour practical hands-on training, you will learn how to better prompt your AI. And we have our famous food truck challenge in this training. So for me, this is a must attend. Seats are available for you to book now. You can find the link in the description. All the pricing information is on the website. And PROpulsion members, remember, you get 50% discount. Right, let's move on straight away. And remember, I've been talking about this for weeks on end now, and I'll probably still talk about it for weeks to come. And mind you, time is actually running out. Our PROpulsion Tech event is happening on the 5th and 7th of August. Guys, that's now. So if you still haven't booked your ticket, please do so. This is going to be punchy keynotes, practical showcases and demos of actual tech, no random slideshows. So this is a great event to just connect with tech providers and your peers and see what is available for you to use in your practice and elevate your advisory process. So again, tickets are on sale right now, and if you are a member, you can attend this for free. So your code is available on the platform, and if you are simply wanting to book a ticket, again, in the description there is a link for the tickets, or you can just visit our website. Lastly, we have our Tax-Based in Practice webinar again on the 30th of July. So Rudolf Geldenhuys is hosting this, where he shows you how he uses tax-based in his practice to have more valuable conversations with clients surrounding the topic of tax. So if you're interested in that, that's completely free for you to attend. There is an RSVP link in the description, or if you want more information, please feel free to email us and we'll gladly help you. Again, that's happening on the 30th of July at 11. So if you're keen to join us for that and maybe curious about what tax-based can offer you in your practice, this is a great session where you'll be able to find out more about that. If you enjoy spending your Friday mornings with us, please hit the like button, click subscribe, and maybe share it with some of your peers that will find value in this. And I'll see you again next week. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Fantastic. Alrighty. So Carla dos Santos, the SEO coach. If you look at her bio and you look at her story, it is phenomenal. So I'm not going to share much about this in the opening. I want to ask her about it when we get started, because she is such an interesting person, number one. Number two, you've never had dealt with anybody with such energy levels, always the same, always doesn't matter. I can sometimes send her a message that I know, like, yeah, this sounds like Francois is still in bed or something. And then Carla just goes and she's always on. But she's extremely good at what she does. SEO is in her blood, right? So what is SEO? We'll get into all of that and that later today. But on that note, I'm going to say, Carla, warm welcome.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Francois. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's a big pleasure. I look forward to our conversation. I even quickly, while Ben was doing the email tips, I was going there to find Yoda and some coffee just so that I can keep up.
Yoda's important.
Yes, I'm looking forward to a good one. But anyways, thank you so much for your time and for joining us. When you started off your career selling safaris in the Okavango Delta, already there's some people I know in the audience that say, oh, that sounds really cool. That's far from code and search engines and all the things that you keep yourself busy with today. What did those early days teach you about how people search specifically for information, well, whether it's online or offline?
So by the time I had gone to Botswana, I had already worked in online tourism, so sort of had an indication of search. And I think the starkest thing was we search by keyword, even back then, but we talk with natural language. So I found that Q&A was in real life, but then people would go to search engines and just punch in Botswana safari versus having a conversation going, I want to take my family on a Botswana safari. So it was almost as if people had been taught to search by keyword, not by conversation. This, of course, has changed in recent years.
Yeah. And but it is interesting because I know one of the most frustrating things I had was to sort of, I mean, I know I can explain to you what it is, but I don't know what it's called, and then if you don't know what it's called, you sort of screwed a little bit if you thought you were going to find anything from that perspective. I think that's really, really, difficult. And you have basically changed directions about 7 times across different industries and roles, if my research is correct. And what is it that drives your decision to change course so often? Because let me just sort of lead with this, right? Because there was a period in my life where I think people who looked at me and they thought like, yeah, that's okay. Then he's here for 2 years, then he's there for 2 years, then he's there for 2 years. Like, so I know I only figured out what that was later on. I didn't know at the time what was going on, but what was it for you? And what is it that financial planning professionals can learn about also reinventing themselves from a journey like that?
So, the career started in tourism. So it was 1998. There was no internet, certainly not the way it is now. And then sort of online tourism mushroomed. And the career moves were basically building a career in an industry that didn't exist. So I carefully pivoted based on what I was trying to achieve. And I think the most beautiful thing about the reinvention is you can build your career in building blocks. And, my long-term goal, I didn't know I was going to, become the SEO coach, but my long-term goal was always to do SEO. So those career pivots were based on who would give me the job I needed so I could grow into what I actually wanted to do. So it was a transition from tourism into online tourism and then fully out into tech. And I think, from a financial planner point of view, obviously the career can go in one of many, many directions. And I think complacency is the one thing I don't account for in my life. And I think anyone can achieve career success even by setting their own tempo of that chess game in their own way.
Yeah. And was there any particular change that you made or pivot that you made that sort of really scared you and that sort of like, was this the right move? Or I don't know how I'm going to do this. Was there anything like that?
Yeah. So, obviously the jobs I would take would be jobs that were way too big for me that I had to grow into. And the biggest one was moving from sort of digital marketing into DevOps, where I took over running a web development studio. Again, the choice of job was because I wanted the skill set, but the trade-off was, 18-hour days, 6 days a week. I call it the fake it until you make it strategy.
I'm laughing now because that's now the one thing I tell people I truly like. There was a long time in my life where I was also like, now I'm like very against that. But what I'm very interested in is like, I mean, you're obviously a prolific salesperson, right? If you're able to sell yourself into a job that you have to figure out. I mean, how did you manage to sort of overcome that and say, well, you know what, can do this and then secure that position basically?
I think I've always had a maybe misplaced, but a very deep confidence in my abilities. And, I've always believed there's nothing I cannot do. So, the trade-off for the jobs, what I would bring with me was an amassed skill set, let's say, in creating customized tours to Africa. And then when given the opportunity to move into the online space, that would be the trade-off. So I would sales consult and then learn sort of SEO on the side. So I think all the jobs knew, I was very honest about where the skill set was, but all I needed was the opportunity. And of course, for a business to give you that, you've got to grow quickly.
Yeah, amazing. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of today and talk about SEO. Now, something I said right in the beginning, if maybe some of you missed it, for those that joined a bit later today, but I think when we think about SEO, it's like two things. It's like, I must show up on the first page of Google when somebody searches for something, and then they need to click on it, right? They need to go to the website. So there's those two things. And there's many more things to it, but I think mainly in that. And for me, it's always been a case of without SEO, I mean, and my website is a clear. It's clear proof of that, where you've got lots of things going on and lots of information there, but unless somebody searched for us specifically or searched for me specifically, they wouldn't find the website. So the issue with websites is that when somebody is looking for someone like you or for services like yours or trying to solve their problem and you are the person to solve that problem, we are not showing up because we have not optimized the websites for those things. So that's my understanding of SEO. But now we moved into this zero-click world that you talk about. And I'm sort of really interested to learn more about what does that mean when we say there's a zero-click search results and how is that now changing the game? I think that must be exciting for you because SEO has been the same for a very long time. So now there's all these new. But so far majority of people, and I don't want to assume, but most people here is not deep in the tech world. So how would you describe zero-click search results and why do they matter today?
So, you're right about back in the day, you would search something, a page would come up, it had 10 blue links, you'd click on all 10, process the information, and ultimately create your own AI overview. So now with new search, if you think of everything as a search engine, YouTube, ChatGPT, Google, even WhatsApp to a certain extent, Instagram now, so everything is a search engine. And the ticket is to return a full set of results in the Google sort of first page, and people will not click through to the website. What they do have there is the information that they are seeking. So, obviously there's a bit of push and pull between content creators and search engines. But, Google in particular has had one mandate, sort of since the beginning of time, and that is to match the user's intent to the result. So zero-click has become very important. In a way, society has become a bit more lazy, and AI is pretty much taken as the answer. So, if someone is searching for something like the SEO coach, obviously my brand would return. But if someone went onto Google and said, I want an SEO coach in Cape Town, a whole list of us would return. It is then for the user to look at those AIOs, make a determination on who they want to work with. And from there, I generally find I get WhatsApped. So, even in my search console, you can see a decline in clicks, an increase in impressions, an increase in business, but it's very hard to tie it back. So the zero-click SERP today is, where it's at. It's important to understand that, and again, Google in particular updates its algorithms about 525 times a year. Over the last year, it has been updating its core. So when Google does core updates, whatever it is doing is pretty much here to stay. So to not be optimized for LLMs, AIOs, AEOs, ABCs, you just won't return. And that is going to start costing people business.
And also, I mean, even somebody that, it's obviously like anything in life, right? So someone with a great marketing strategy will outperform someone with the best service and the best everything who doesn't have that. So unfortunately, that's a fact. And I guess just a question I want to throw in here as a side question is, I might be sitting here and I've got a very small business and I've got a very I'm like, what, my clients don't even go to I've got it because I have to have a website. We never update it. We never do anything with it. And we're doing quite well in our business. Is that, and I know this is subjective, right? Because that's your and my view and so on, or your view and my view and somebody else's view. But would it be, should I then even have a website? I guess is the first question. And secondly, if that is my stance, should I reconsider what I'm thinking about this? Because the new way how things are working, is there a direct impact on me? So if I'm not marketing my website, I'm not updating it, it's a static website that's been there now for 5 or 6 years or whatever, what is the impact of that?
So, performance marketing in itself is what powers every other search engine. So, you can be without a website, but it really will limit your visibility in digital, all digital. So there are some people, I have clients who bypass websites and go straight to Facebook as an example. But, there you're dealing with different ages. And, Facebook for our age group, fine, but lower down now it's TikTok. So websites become important, very important, I think even more important than ever before, because that for me is the genesis of all information. So to not optimize the sites, to not move into 2025 is ultimately just going to result in Google giving less and less sort of crawl bandwidth to your product. Google likes it, all search engines like it when we update, when we play with our products, when we enhance our products, and they do reward for that kind of behavior. So, yeah, to not have a website, I think, it's hard to quantify in numbers, but if SEO is, let's say, made up of 10 elements, the website would, let's say, be a hard 4. So you can only ever get 6 out of 10 using everything else.
Got you. And then, Carla, just like the way we're used to tracking whether we're getting, if I look at, for example, what we've been doing, the work we've been doing on our website, and we are tracking the stats, right? Google Search Console, Bing, what's it called? Like Bing's, can't remember what the bloody thing's called. But anyway, they all work the same. Yeah, but they like their Search Console where you can track
they
all
webmaster tools, Bing webmaster.
Yeah, there you go. And so we can there see like clicks, impressions, and all sorts of other stuff that you can see there. What you're ranking for, not ranking. There's loads of information in there, and it's very technical. And hence, I just ask you, are we moving forward or not? That stuff is really technical in my opinion. But if clicks are now becoming less important, and it is about, because people have started sending me screenshots of saying, just look at this. I asked ChatGPT and it said, oh, you must talk to PROpulsion. And that's incredible. It doesn't happen every day that somebody sends me that, but it just feels cool to be included in a ChatGPT, chat without particularly asking for us. And that for me is like, how do I now track success? How do I know, well, this is worth it? Because I don't know, like, first answer that, then I want to share a thought with you that I have, but let's just answer that one first.
So I think where a lot of SEOs are grateful is clients don't spend time in Google Search Console, because currently, and we've got a lot of fun terms in SEO. We've got zombie pages. We've got a whole sci-fi environment there. But Google Search Console at the moment we call the crocodile mouth, because the metric of success now is impressions. And you've got impressions going sky high, as in the sort of top jaw of the crocodile, and then everything else is at the bottom. And bizarrely, this is now a measure of success. You're winning if your clicks are declining, but your impressions are increasing. Educating clients is obviously probably the most challenging part there.
So I'm just thinking, like, and I was listening yesterday, but always on the show, you hear me say, oh, yesterday I heard something, because yesterday I was at a coffee shop and I was sitting there working, and next to me was a table, and you can clearly hear that they were talking about developing apps and websites and all sorts of things. That they were definitely talking about a product and that. And the one guy I could hear is very, very into it. And he also, they were particularly mentioning content creators quite a bit, but I couldn't hear because I'm too old, so I can't hear that far. But one thing that I'm wondering about, and this is probably more on the AI side of things, but it does have to do with the search stuff. Previously, we wrote blog posts. I create a ton of videos. There's loads of things that we create all the time, but we wanted to send people to that. Now suddenly we don't see the clicks and the follow through and that people actually consume. We don't know whether people are consuming the content. Like, how do I now know? But let me just take a step back. For me, that's very important to have that content, because without that content, there's no way you're showing up in AI anyway. So it's not that, I guess the question is, are we wasting our time with the kind of content we create, the depth of the content that we create? Are those things really important and even more so today, or is it less important? Because it's this thing about like, I created this video, but I only got 200 views on it. I didn't get 1,000 views or 100,000 views or whatever it is. So how do those things, like the content itself, how important is that for this AI world that we're into and the zero-click world that we're into?
So the content we create is extremely important, very, very important. Of course, now is video content. That is what is being consumed. So to not have any content presence in the search engines, again, will limit your return. So, you talk about the results where someone, found you in ChatGPT, that's SEO. Your videos being returned, that's SEO. So the organic side of it, all content is important, but it is about how we structure that content to achieve glory. So, a really beautiful video can get made, can get sent out, can have fewer views. But the reason would be something like the schema isn't right or it's not on a watch page. So it really is about understanding what all of these systems, and now I include the AIs, the LLMs, the search engines, what their requirements are to serve you up first and fastest. So it is a combination of sort of, trust citation and signals like that, but it is also the frequency of content, the targeting of the content, the reach of the content. But to return, you've got to have the content. So like in your website, your case, what you've got is something phenomenal. You've got a lot of unique content, all of the interviews, all of the podcasts, all of the transcripts. And, that in some ways does put you leagues ahead of your own competitors. So as time evolves and as websites meet the new criteria, which really is about something called schema, which I'll bore you about just now, it's how the rich returns happen. And if you do that properly, you will return. Sometimes I'll Google something and I'll see a video return from sort of 3 years ago, which means that whatever this video did 3 years ago is still relevant today. And, new videos are not knocking that one out the number one spot because they would have done SEO on YouTube. It has its own SEO. Every one of these platforms and channels, including socials, they all have algorithms. They are all search engines. So SEO is very big.
And I mean, obviously, everybody here, there's very few people that'll be here this morning or listening to the podcast or whatever that are pure content creators. They are financial planning professionals, they're business owners, they're professionals, and they do content creation as part of their marketing efforts and to get their message out there and to educate and so on and so forth. So it's not their main thing. That versus somebody like their job, even my job is not this. Like this is my sort of my passion project. And I guess the whole thing is that AI, there's this notion that AI is now taking all of this content and they are the ones now, they're not taking credit for it, but they are now serving it up without compensating anybody for that. That's on the one hand, but it is a case of, because what I'm taking from what you just said is like, the content is one part, but the distribution and the network you set up to get it distributed, I mean, that's really, really important, right? It's like building an amazing city, but there's no roads that go to the city. Like that doesn't really help. So, but on that front, are we just going into a next phase? Is it something that if I am creating content, because now there's also this notion around intellectual property and I don't want this is my stuff, this is my secret, yet you did put it on the internet anyway. So, but I mean, like, is this just the next evolution or is this something completely new? Does it mean that SEO, the way we knew it, it's completely done? Just maybe your take on that.
So no, SEO can never be done because it is what underpins everything returning in everything. Where I don't agree with the content creator stance that we should be compensated for the content. Remember, for 20 years I've been doing SEO, and for 20 years the content of my clients has been appearing in search engine results pages, or SERPs as we call them. So what has changed now? I believe that the change, and why Google fundamentally made this change, is, I'm sure some of you know SEO has got a terrible reputation as a dark art, snake oil salesman, as we are fondly referred to. And that is because there, over the years, have been ways to game the system. I believe the discontent that is being expressed now is because certain publishers and certain industries who did things sort of in the darker space of SEO are losing huge amounts of traffic. And one thing I've always sung the swan song of is fundamental white hat best practice. It's like building a house. You're not going to do a weak foundation. So I think there's a lot of change going on. I do not think that Google or any search engine, LLM or AI, should be compensating anyone for content, because ultimately without us, they've got nothing to display. And without them, we've got nowhere to display it. So, yeah, I think creating content and, generating business from that is ultimately why we do SEO. Not so much now about ranking number one, but certainly about putting your best content foot forward and showing the world what you can do. The biggest change I think that has happened for, I'm going to call them the naysayers, is they are no longer coming first. So because they can't game the system anymore, there is discontent. What will be interesting is how it does play out, because, there are commission contributions, and, Cloudflare yesterday basically said that they are going to do a header response return, that when an AI bot comes to the website to take the content, the website is going to say, you must pay for this. But it's fair to say the AI will just move on to the website that is giving it for free. So I think if people just go back to the basics of why we do SEO, what we're trying to achieve, this noise will all fall away. I think for the big publishers, and, pretty much for every client I'm working on, it is about adapting the content to the new world. So when you've got a website with 20 years of content and, upwards of 50,000 pages, where do you begin? So I think that is what the issue sort of stems from. But I would not stop doing SEO in its base form, because it is that brings the returns.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about this concept of, I don't know, for me, I'm from the Fries, I'll just go eat, okay, EEAT. So,
Yes.
EEAT is experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So that's the core of SEO, right? So that's what we're looking for. This sort of is, that's financial planners summarized, right? Because the good ones, you've got experience, expertise, you've got authority, and you are trustworthy. Like that is just like so in ons kraal, man. So what are maybe 3 things they can do today that can demonstrate this on their website? Because this is the thing, when I go to websites, they all say the same thing. They all look the same. In many cases, they look the same in terms of content. So what are 3 things that they can do to make sure this comes through in their websites, because it's already what they're living?
Well, first of all, your explanation was so awesome. I'd like to offer you an internship with me. So EAT really is about trust. And I think, again, this is one of the biggest changes to SEO. It boils down inherently on a website to 3 things. Your Google reviews, because ultimately for a search engine, and this is both Bing and Google, to have those sort of thumbs up is real. The other thing that should happen is a page about you, literally about me, not about us. So us has become, So there's a business with people in it, and then there is a business leader. And if that leader is the business, that leader should have a page. Mine is called My Origin Story on my website, but I'm a huge sci-fi fan, so we have origin stories. But everybody has a story, and that humanizes the business. The Google trust signals and the Bing trust signals sort of integrated onto the website. So basically showing those reviews. And what was a game changer for me, because, obviously I had testimonials on LinkedIn in my inbox and, started the SEO coach and had no reviews yet. And I put those testimonials on my website from my LinkedIn and my inbox. And that was an absolute game changer in Google. So I think it really is sort of peer-to-peer thumbs up, as it works the same in backlinks, so like if the FPI links back to you, Francois, it's showing that, a very important website trusts you, and that also gives signals. So it really is about sustainable career highlighting, where you've succeeded as an individual, where you have failed as an individual. So I would say Google Business Listing, and About Me page, FAQs, and definitely testimonials. Those 4 things I think are very important today. Tomorrow could be different.
Fantastic. And right, so I mean that's really important, right? Sorry, I'm now thinking because I know I owe you 2 of those things.
I didn't want to bring it. I didn't want to bring it to the interview, but you know what I mean, guys. Francois owes me work.
Yes, I do. Mental note. Okay. Something that is also really always quite interesting to me is that, we often tell or sort of, let's say, promote the fact that, you should niche and you should focus on one specific type of client, etc. I think specifically early in your career, it just makes it easier, but also from a marketing point of view, it does make sense to only talk to one person at a time, but we're very bad at that because we feel we're alienating everybody else. If I say I do retirement planning for teachers, then suddenly, the business people are not going to come to me, and the other professionals are going to talk to me, and people that do other jobs won't come to me. But that, in fact, is not the case. But I mean, let's just say I am niching and I am saying, like, I do retirement planning for teachers. How can we go about building typical authority online then for that space?
So, here again, I'll use the SEO coach. So SEO is massive. So before I started the SEO coach, I said to myself, Carla, you've got so many skills. What is unique to package? So I picked the 3 dominant skills in my skill set, which obviously developed a unique type of an SEO offering. Once you've got that baseline, you are then able to go, okay, cool, retirement planning for teachers. It doesn't exclude the whole world because the main thing there is retirement planning, like SEO. It's about SEO. But then off SEO, there's SEO for AI, SEO for Google, SEO for YouTube. So building topical authority is a brand exercise. So first of all, why should I even listen to what you have to say about retirement planning when I can go to anyone about retirement planning? So what sets you apart from everybody else? There's your EEAT. And then the product itself, what I always do before I build an offering or a product is I say to myself, this is going back to Ben's very clever way of living, is templating. So sure, it is retirement planning for teachers, but it is also retirement planning, which is a many-armed thing. So I would build the topical authority around retirement planning and then create specialist targets off there. Then talking to teachers, talking to financial planners, whoever is retiring. So the question is not to be the authority on specifically retirement planning for teachers, but for retirement planning as a whole. Then teachers will come to you and so will everyone else because you know what you are talking about. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, and then just maybe as we're moving along with time, but then does it matter how much content I produce, or is there a smarter way? Is it just about throwing as much as I can at the internet and everywhere else, or what is the best way for me to achieve that level of, say, Francois knows what he's talking about when it comes to retirement planning?
It's going to be obviously topical authority. So not talking like an encyclopedia, but talking as a human being. That's going to be the first one. The reams of content being thrown out. So a website that pre-exists, I would still optimize all of its content to get as much indexed and then sort of do that specialized side of it. But the sort of gist of it, it's always going to come sort of down to what you are saying, who you are saying it to. So although SEO is on steroids by way of platforms, I think it has become a quieter space by way of authority. So I wouldn't throw reams of content at it. I would write one really awesome piece of content that was completely different to everybody else's. I would push that out, and then I would support that with segments, with videos, with adding more sort of streams of retirement planning to it, almost like building what I would call a topic cluster. Visually, I call them spiders. So you've got your sort of body, and then you kind of have the legs which go into the different areas. But throwing things into a search engine is not going to be the answer. Google is becoming less forgiving with random spam than ever before. And it knows IA from human. And although it has no problem with us using AI, it wants taxonomy. It wants websites to be structured. So you can't just get away with throwing content into it. It would have to be built out as a product, this particular thing.
Yeah, so just asking AI to also optimize the article for SEO is not going to help, right? So,
No.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Then my last question to you, Carla, is if there's one thing that you can leave all of us with today, that one mind shift or mindset shift, I should say, if we want to make sure that in future we want to be digitally visible. So it still blows my mind that there's so many people that go like, no, I'm very private. I'm not putting my things on there. You don't have to put your personal life on there, but it is important for your business to have a digital footprint,
Exactly.
right? So that's really important. But if there's one thing you can leave us with, what would that be?
All right. So I am a big fan of Sun Tzu, the author of The Art of War. If you haven't read it, you should. And I think one of the most telling, or one of the sort of my favorite statements is, the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. And my interpretation of that is to focus on your own path to success quietly and intentionally, and just leave out all the rest.
That's amazing. If you want to get in touch with Carla, Carla is on LinkedIn. I can promise you, if you do Google her, she will she will show up. She better.
Thank God.
Yeah. If otherwise you can't find her, get in contact with me. But LinkedIn, she's got a website, the SEOcoach.co.za. Am I right? So you can definitely go and connect there with her and find out more. And but as I said, LinkedIn is always for me the go-to place. If you want to build a relationship, have conversations and things, that's probably the easiest place, and you'll be able to find everything else from there. Carla, it was lekker. Thank you very much. It's a pity that we don't have an hour to talk. I still had a few questions here. But thank you so much for everything that you shared. I really appreciate it. And thanks for the fantastic work you do. And keep on keeping on, and stay a sci-fi fan. Like, it's important.
Yeah, always. Thanks for having me, guys. You never know. Maybe we'll do a round 2.
No, no, we will. I already have plans, but we'll do it in the community. How's that?
Only if you give me the content you owe me.
Yeah. Before that. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Carla.
Thanks, guys.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And next week we'll be back, same time, same place. So please come and join us every Friday at 8 a.m. right here on YouTube. And we'll have another topic, another guest for you. So looking forward to that. On that note, have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, be blessed and prosper. Stay curious and continue to raise the bar. Love you lots. Bye-bye.